guys, today I want to give you a really simple explanation regarding cryptocurrency. Now, the truth is the financial talk of the world is Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatnot, and it's important for us to know, as people of the next generation, what we could potentially be looking at in the future. Let's talk through how it works and what some of the benefits and risks are. A while back, I asked you guys what money really is. Is it a note? Is it a coin? Is it just a number in a bank account? Well, it's all of these things. Today I want to ask you, what is a currency? A currency is a form or a medium of exchange. So some common currencies you must have heard of are the US dollar, the British pound, the Indian rupee, the Japanese yen, and so forth. All of these currencies have physical and virtual forms. So I could have a 10 Australian dollar note, or I could have 10 Australian dollars in my virtual bank account. Something really important to note is that all of these currencies are known as centralized currencies. That means that they are connected to banks and controlled by governments. So if I wanted to transfer some money to my friend Kathleen for the coffee she just bought me, I'd have to do it through a bank account. And the currency I would use traditionally is actually controlled by a government. I'll explain more on how governments actually control a currency in a later video. But now to the heart of this video. What is cryptocurrency? Simply put, it is a decentralized, virtual, cryptography-based currency. Some examples you must have heard of are Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. These are all examples of cryptocurrencies. Now, I said it's a virtual form of a currency. This means that there is no physical form of any cryptocurrency. So I can't get a 10 Bitcoin note. They just don't exist. I just explained what centralized is. So decentralized is, you guessed it, not connected in any way to a bank or a government. Cryptocurrency is decentralized. Before we get into how it works, I'll let you know that I'm going to be talking in terms of the Bitcoin, the most famous and well-known type of cryptocurrency. Let's get started. I want to introduce the idea of a ledger. Now, a ledger is like a massive Excel spreadsheet that records every single Bitcoin transaction ever made. And in the crypto world, it's called a blockchain. Anyone that uses Bitcoin has access to this blockchain. Remember how I said it's decentralized? If there's no bank or government updating the blockchain and anyone has access to it, how is it safe? And how are more Bitcoins even produced? Now, remember how I just spoke about the blockchain? It has every Bitcoin transaction ever made. Well, people who update this blockchain are known as Bitcoin miners. Let's say Jenny wants to transfer 1 Bitcoin to Peter. 1 Bitcoin currently is $45,000 US. As we know, there's no bank account involved in this. Rather, every Bitcoin user has a digital wallet. This digital wallet holds a digital private key and a digital public key. Let's just establish that there's no physical keys. A public key is something that everyone gets, and it is something that is used to make transactions. Now, every public key is paired with a private key. A private key is like your digital signature. You keep it to yourself, and it's what you use to verify transactions. So how does this look in real life? Let's go back to Jenny and Peter. Now, Jenny, using her public key, sends the message, Jenny transfers 1 Bitcoin to Peter. Peter will then see this message, and he will verify it using his private key, his digital signature. As soon as Peter verifies that transaction using his digital signature, Bitcoin mining begins. Because the Bitcoin is not controlled by any government or bank, they've had to create a really secure system to ensure that every transaction is verified. And Bitcoin mining is the way to do this. Remember, any transaction that is made must be added to the blockchain. And this is done by Bitcoin miners. Now, a Bitcoin miner is anyone that updates the blockchain, and they get a reward for doing this. This is going to sound ridiculous, but any Bitcoin miner looking to verify this transaction and get the reward is going to have to solve a maths problem. Well, their computers are going to solve the maths problem. This is where the cryptography part of cryptocurrency comes in. So what's going to happen is that any person looking to make a reward through Bitcoin mining is going to have to solve a maths problem. Now, this is called a cryptographic hash function. Every Bitcoin miner around the world will be looking to solve this problem. Rest assured, you don't have to solve it. It's actually your computer that solves this problem. As soon as this miner solves the problem, 3 things are going to happen. Firstly, 1 Bitcoin will be transferred from Jenny's wallet to Peter's wallet. Secondly, the blockchain will be updated, meaning that Jenny and Peter's transaction will be added to it. And thirdly, remember how we spoke about Bitcoin being decentralized and there's no one really in charge of making sure who's producing them? So what's going to happen is that the Bitcoin miner gets a reward for solving the problem and updating the blockchain. That's how new Bitcoins are made, hence the term mining. So if people just keep making transactions and mining Bitcoins, how does it actually have any value as a currency? Well, the only thing that is predetermined about the Bitcoin is the limit. Only 21 million Bitcoins can be produced, or mined, I should say. So far, we've mined about 18 million Bitcoins. Let's face it, if anyone could mine Bitcoins and there was an infinite supply, would it really have any value? So that shows how transactions not only updates the blockchain, but also produces more Bitcoins. As people of the next generation, we need to know whether cryptocurrency is something we should be looking into. So I'm gonna let you guys decide, but I'll go through some of the benefits and risks with you. Some of the benefits include the fact that it is fast and convenient. You always have access to your money. If you want to take a home loan from your bank, it's a long and tiresome process. But with a Bitcoin, because there's miners working all around the world, it doesn't take very long for it to be mined and therefore the transaction to be verified. Another benefit of cryptocurrency is that it can't be counterfeited. You see, the way the system is built, and thanks to the cryptography, it's actually very secure and you can't actually copy the Bitcoin itself. Whereas with real currency, it's so easy to print a fake and no one would ever know. Yes, there are these benefits, but there are some definite risks associated with cryptocurrency. Firstly, it's not very comforting to know that there is no financial institution or government backing you up. As well as this, the value of cryptocurrency is always changing. This is because of a fundamental economic concept known as supply and demand. Simply put, it's just about how the supply and demand are always changing based on consumers and producers. This makes it potentially risky to buy cryptocurrency because it's so volatile and unpredictable. Another risk related to this idea of supply and demand is the fact that it could easily become a monopoly. Let's say someone with a lot of influence and power decides to buy the Bitcoin when they're at a really low price. The next day, they might promote the Bitcoin, and suddenly people want to buy it because it seems so much more popular. This means that the value of the Bitcoin will significantly increase because of this increase in demand, and that person who had promoted them would just sell them at a higher price and make so much money. So it's like one of those things that you think isn't being controlled but is actually being influenced by so many powers all over the world. Another risk is the fact that governments just don't like cryptocurrency because it's out of their control. And when governments start coming down hard, they might wipe out cryptocurrency altogether, and that could mean a lot of loss of money. This also leads to the idea of hacking. I think human intellect just knows no bounds, and it would be so easy to hack someone's wallet. Personally, I think the idea of money going digital is something that society is just inevitably headed towards, and I think the convenience and the speed would be beneficial to us. When it comes to cryptocurrency itself, however, I just think it's too volatile and easily exploited. I really hope that gave you a lot of insight into the world of cryptocurrency and the financial talk of the world, and also just what society could potentially be headed towards in the future. Let me know if you have any questions, comments or suggestions, and I'm happy to follow through on them. See you next time where we'll start looking at tax.